Hey everyone, welcome back to the IWP Network, or if it's your first time, welcome hanging out with us. Thank you so much for choosing this podcast, and feedback is always welcome. So make sure to check the links below for all social media links, audio and video versions of this show, and merch. We look forward to hearing from you and hearing that feedback, and enjoy the show.
Here we are. We're live. We're back. Episode. I don't know why I always say episode because I never remember the number anyway. I think it's
95.
95. Thank you. Episode. This is actually the first episode number where we have a guest on. Before we separated the guests to their own thing, but we got rid of that. That's a whole new thing. We're on a new chapter. For the people listening audio, if you know my voice, the host Anthony. I'm here with my co-host Brian.
That would be me.
Alex, who's jumps in and out with us here. From the High Tension Network and one of the minds behind Camp Leapfrog. You want to say hi?
Yeah. Hey.
hey. And our guest, Weapon X, Matt Makowski. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks for having me.
Thank you
Matt,
for doing it.
I'm so sorry, Tony. Matt, that is actually my first question. Weapon X, Wolverine, Brian Dawkins, both or neither?
Wolverine.
Okay.
Thank God. All right. Actually, for how much I do not like the Philadelphia Eagles, I will give Brian Dawkins his due. Due as an animal. One of the best German suplexes the NFL ever seen. Yeah. Before we get started, I want to do a quick thank you right over Brian's shoulder there. Avadon Tattoo Studio, unique professional experience nestled in the small town of Pine Grove, Pennsylvania. They provide high-quality tattoos and piercings in a relaxed, professional, and sterile environment. The links are below that you can go follow them on social medias, book appointments. They do a fantastic job. I personally have been tattooed there. There's not one person in that shop who does a bad, when you go to tattoo shops every now and then, it's like, that guy's tattooing me and that guy's not. They don't have that there. Everyone there is insanely talented, very, very nice people. And they're very thankful for them for sponsoring us and supporting this channel. But yeah, so we're here with Matt. All his links are below as well. You can follow him. We're going to get everything, but the Twitch is down there, the brand new merch page, which I know I ordered immediately. Actually, it worked out great. I messaged you and I was like, when can someone get merch? And you're like, why do you ask? In 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Instagram and also Twitter. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
So we're going to dive straight in here, and sorry, I'm pouring a beer as we go. I can't podcast without at least one going on here. So growing up, when this is I guess a typical podcast question, the softball. When did you become a wrestling fan? Has it always been there? Was it something you dove into later?
Oh man, if I could think all the way back, I used to live in we used to have one of these big satellites that would act physically turn, and it'd be my channels were F and then a number and then D and then a number. I don't know. This is very young, but
was this TV or Battleship?
I don't know, but it was I feel I remember finding an ECW, old ECW at one point on one of these channels and seeing that, but and then I think a friend of mine, this is again early elementary school, was getting SummerSlam. I think it was Undertaker versus Giant Gonzalez.
Oh boy!
Well, the rest in peace match.
Yeah, maybe. And I remember having to kind of ask my parents if that was okay because I wasn't. It was I don't know. I don't know if they were into wrestling or whatever. But anyway, they let me go, and I had a good time. But yeah, I growing up, I guess when I was really into it, mid '90s, I was Bret. I was a Bret Hart Undertaker guy. I don't know. I feel maybe a lot of kids during that era. And my brother was a Shawn Michaels. We had we were rival.
Your brother's a smart man.
Yeah, right. I had my own we had our own little neighborhood it wasn't backyard wrestling, but it basically was like my version of backyard wrestling. It was like more like living room wrestling.
Yeah.
There's tapes. I haven't put any of this stuff out, but I have like old VHS tapes of me doing like wrestling when I was like 12 years old or 10.
I want to give a quick shout out. Some of the information I heard about you, I went and listened to like different interviews with you, and I think you have a great time on the Brother Love, the Brotherly Love show. They do a great job. So definitely give that podcast a shout out. But they said that definitely have to make a Patreon of all your living room wrestling matches.
Yeah. Oh, because later in high school it evolved into like a fight club. We had like I don't know, like
that makes sense.
Yeah, like nobody. Let's just get this out of the way. Nobody ever got hurt, but we were like we put 16.
But you wouldn't talk about it anyway.
We put 16-ounce boxing gloves on, and I don't know. God bless my mother. I don't know. It just there's video of that too. So I don't know. Yeah, one day this stuff will come out. What's that?
Where did you grow up? Like where were you raised? Like
Berks County, Pennsylvania. Right with Mr. Alex here.
That's
Alex.
right.
Alex was friends with my brother. They were. Alex is a little younger than me. My brother's was two grades older. So I've known Alex for a long time. Alex, you play football too?
I did. I played for Lincoln Park.
Yeah, I think we might have played
Probably
together.
Yeah,
at some
I think
point.
we did because I guess I was a size up, so I wasn't with the kids my age.
Okay. Yeah, I was also, even though I was in whatever grade, I was like a little bit younger. So I was I was below everybody that was like in my grade. But
yeah, we probably played together as well.
Yeah. So it's so crazy. Then I didn't like, and then just I think I saw you at a PPW. Is that correct?
Yeah, I remember your brother reached out to me and was telling me that you were training for wrestling. And he's like, "Oh, that's wild because like you do wrestling." I'm like, "Yeah, PPW." And then when I heard some Chikara guys were showing up to do the Rumble, I was like, "Oh, I wonder if Matt's here. That'd be cool."
That's funny.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever link up in the living room and all these old school?
No, I don't think Alex was part of that. How were you?
I don't know if I was part of that, but I remember getting a little beat up by you when we were playing Sega Genesis in your living room.
Oh yeah,
yeah, just a little bit. It was cool.
Right. Did you catch one of the first arm bars?
I might have.
You beat him in like old school.
That wasn't even till like college, but like we were like, so my friends were in high school. My friends were into like traditional martial arts, like kung fu, and they were into the UFC. And it was like my two buddies, and then like there was one other kid at school that like followed the UFC, and this was like the kids that knew what MMA was in my grade at least. Mm-hmm. And we would watch it was back in the day when it was only on pay-per-view 5, maybe 6 times a year. Mm-hmm. And it was always a big deal. It's like, UFC's on tonight, man. You coming over, blah, blah, blah. And we would get it in my buddy's basement. And I was just a huge fan. And we would like study. I think my buddy had like a Gracie book. And we would try to do the moves out of the Gracie book or whatever. And then I think this is kind of how the Fight Club thing kind of started. And like all that stuff. But and then like, I don't know. I, had to I was going to college. And they're like, you gotta pick a major. And I'm like, we used to make movies too with my buddies. And I was like, all right, well, I like that. And like Temple had a good film and media arts program. So I went to Temple, but I really, I'm not really ashamed to admit this or anything. As I was looking for colleges to apply to, I was also looking for MMA gyms in the region. So I was really kind of just scouting where the MMA gyms were, and luckily there was some stuff in Philly, and so Temple was a perfect fit. And as soon as I left for college, I signed up at the MMA gym like that week. So that kind of happened. It was just coming out of high school. That was also something I wanted to maybe pursue or start. I've just always been a pretty competitive person. I did amateur wrestle when I was very young, but I was mostly a football guy up until I played all through senior, basically from Pee Wee to senior year, like 10 years of football. When in my youth, I was a quarterback and a running back. I was like pretty fast. I was like one of the fastest kids on the team. And then I don't know. I think I like went through like a little bit of a chunky phase or whatever. And also I think they just needed somebody, but they put me on the line in like junior high, and I wasn't that big. I was probably the smallest guy on the line, but I was decent at it. So I played center. Wow. And I kind of just stuck with it. Like I probably once high school rolled around, I probably could have like went with another position or whatever, but I kind of was just like, I don't know, this is what I like. This is what I'm doing. I don't really didn't have a huge desire to like carry the ball or anything. I played defense too. I was an outside linebacker. That was probably like more kind of like what I really enjoyed. But being in the right in the middle of everything, you get to as a lineman was fun for me too. Just it's a very very physical role there. Yeah, and so somebody that me and Alex went to high school has a Super Bowl ring.
Wow.
Yeah, Chad Henne won the Super Bowl last year with the Chiefs. He lost this year, unfortunately, but I was center and Chad was the quarterback my senior year. I was the center and Chad Henne was the quarterback.
I remember even though I lived on the one side of town, I still went to Central, and that's where Chad went. And I remember we were in 8th grade and he was already playing for the high school.
Yeah, he was already like 6'3" or whatever, and
he's a monster.
It's such a small world too. It's such a small world because Mount Carmel, Pennsylvania, which is where Tony Deppin's from, I believe.
Yeah.
Is where Brett Veach, the general manager of the Chiefs, is from.
Oh, wow.
Also, Henry Hynowski, who went to, I believe, Mount Carmel and has a Super Bowl. No, he went to somewhere in
North
Pennsylvania.
Schuylkill, I believe.
Henry, and he actually has a ring with the Giants.
Damn.
Yeah, but I'm in the same boat as you. I was a diehard wrestling fan. I loved it, but I was strictly WWE. I was one of those people now in like the Wednesday Night Wars, like you pick a side, you don't watch the other one, you hate it. I don't know. I was young and stupid. And if you're that fan right now, don't be that person because you're going to miss out on a lot of cool stuff later on. But
NXT is good, nerds.
Yeah, you nerds. No, but I was strictly WWE. I would only watch that. And then I went to my cousin. He was older and he had a party. And I was just like, I'm here. This is awesome. I'm with the older kids. And they rented Ken Shamrock, Tito Ortiz 1.
Oh, wow.
And I fell in love. I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. And then I was like, I'm done with WWE. This is my new thing.
Probably didn't heard it was Ken Shamrock, right? It was kind of,
it was a good transition for me. But I just became obsessed then. So I remember just following UFC all from then on. And that was like UFC, 42 or something? It was real.
Yeah.
It didn't even break 50.
I'm going to show my age here. The first UFC I saw was like 6, I think.
Nice.
It was Tank Abbott's debut. When he lost to Oleg Taktarov in the finals because it was in a high altitude and he just ran out of gas.
Oh. Yeah. But so I was the go-to hub for like every pay-per-view. Like I would get everyone. We'd have huge parties. Okay. But yeah, I fell in love with MMA and then came back to wrestling the year. Everyone's like, you got to come back to wrestling. Got to come back. There's this guy, Daniel Bryan and CM Punk, you're going to love because they're the old school guys. So I came back at Rumble and they disappeared. Yeah. So I came in right when they left. So, but I've been there ever since. And I found a new love for wrestling. And it's funny because I don't watch as much MMA as I probably should, but I'm consuming all things wrestling. And it's like, I'm happy to be back. And now I'm really diving into the indie scene. I'm like, this is beautiful. Like it's such a cool experience.
Yeah.
So getting into your college years, now you're starting to train. What school did you end up going to for MMA?
It was a school at the time. It was called Philly MMA, and it was one of the only gyms in the area that was teaching both Muay Thai and basically Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. There was some schools that would do one or the other, but I really feel like at the time, this was 2004, so MMA is still it's still like considered. It's like NHB. It's only legal in like 2 states still. It's like Nevada and New Jersey, and that's it. And so it's very much in its infancy. So the guy I was training with was really, I feel like, a pioneer in the region for MMA gyms. And so I picked up both, striking and grappling at the same spot, and it kind of just went from there.
I'm trying to even think who was around like back then, like Carmelo Moreros from Philly, Eddie Alvarez.
So there you go. That was who I think one of the first times I walked into the gym, it was Eddie Alvarez hitting mitts in the ring. And he's a guy I absolutely looked up to. Basically, throughout, he's not that much older than me, but like still, he was
made
like
a great career for himself.
Yeah, I think he had 2 pro fights at the time. That's when I walked into the gym. He was 2-0 in his pro career, going into his 3rd fight or whatever. And he was the man. So and I loved his style. I followed his whole career. We're acquaintances. Like he, if he ever's in town or whatever, I say what's up to him. But yeah, he's a guy I looked up to. I loved like Chuck Liddell and the Crow Cop. I was like really into the strikers.
I was a Rampage fan. That was my
hell yeah. There you go. Okay.
But Eddie Alvarez taught me that when you break your nose, never try to blow your nose.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
He won that fight though. He won,
but he closed his eye. I was like, "What happened?" Like he literally, the camera's on him, and he's in the corner, and he just right before the camera cuts, he kind of plugs his other nose, and blows, and then the camera cuts back, and he's just like.
It's a very small world, though. His Eddie Alvarez's mom and my best friend's mom are high school friends.
That's crazy, man.
Eddie's a good dude. Actually, when Connor, I'm not bringing up old heat, but when Connor beat him, I remember people like fans who were just watching because Connor talked them into being fans, or like he clowned this dude. I'm like, that just goes to show how good Connor's striking is, because Eddie's no joke.
Yeah,
the fact that Connor went in and did that is a testament to what he was able to do. And like I said, styles are really important in MMA. You can have a guy who's great, but he gets mismatched with one style or one technique, and it's a game changer.
Eddie's just had so many legendary wars, his fights with Chandler and Bellator, and then a lot of his stuff that he did in Japan was just out of this world. Joaquin Hansen, I think it was these crazy fights. He just had some insane war. He was just known for these crazy wars, and he brought a lot of that to the UFC, where he was he'd get kind of messed up, then he'd come back swinging. It was just very, very Rocky, Rocky Balboa-esque with the whole Philly thing. It had to be. It's like a Philly thing. It's got to be.
Yeah. So you end up going with your we won't go too much in the MMA unless you want to, but you end up finishing at 6-2. Not a bad career. You fought the 170 pounds. Can't talk right now.
There you go. You got it.
Some big names: Joe Schilling, Nick Serra. We talked a little bit off camera about. I will say this: we talked. Obviously, the camera shows that he didn't get up from a butt scoot. Yeah. But I'm here to say on record right now in front of everybody, it was the leg kicks. He damaged him to the point he couldn't stand. It wasn't he quit.
Appreciate that.
Damage he put on him.
Exactly.
You got a Rampage reference there from Ken or Marl during that when you slammed him.
He went for an arm bar. I kind of gave him a bit of a slam. He was in the guard, so I couldn't really pick him up too high, but I feel like I got him up a decent amount.
I thought that was really cool watching that, and then the look on your face when you realized you're like, oh shit, when it went down like that. I thought.
Cool. You mean when I won?
Yeah, when you won, the look on your face was priceless.
Well, I mean, I still I did that probably every one of my fights. As soon as that cage door closed, I wanted to get the hell out of there. I mean just finish this and be done, or I don't know. There might be some other things just whatever, the nerves and self-doubt, but I was surprised. I was like, yes, I did it. Anytime.
It's funny you say that, because from that fight, unfortunately, you the next fight you got your first loss. Tap out, but every fight after that, you didn't get out there very quick. Every fight went to decision.
Well, yeah. So exactly, it was like the curse. I think I've seen this I feel like there's a recurring theme here where it's usually after a KO or something. It happened with Eddie. To bring him back up, he ripped through everybody, and I think around his like 9th or 10th fight, he gets knocked out. I think in like Bodog or something, and then his very next fight is a decision. He wins, but he wins a decision after plowing through like his whole career, finishing everyone. So I don't know if something happened there, like just mentally, like also the competition definitely went up to a degree. That the fight. Like I got a big opportunity after Sarah to fight a main card. I was on Showtime, against a guy who was 9-1. His only loss was to a former WEC champion. I'm 3-0. We talked earlier about how this was very early in my career. I was a blue belt when I fought Nick Sarah. Basically.
His jiu-jitsu is top notch. Obviously, where he trains, he was a black belt going in against a blue belt. He had you double hooks. He had your back. At one point, you literally defended every submission as perfect as you possibly could have to get to that fight. And I personally think too, and I told you off camera, I think you got in his head. I think he's like, I'm coming here against a blue belt. I guarantee if I have double hooks on him, I'm going to take his neck. It's the fight's going to be over. And you got out of it and just put a pace on him that he couldn't handle, to the point where and then landed really good body shots, really good leg kicks. Like you put more on him than he was expecting. I think he might have even been overlooking you. But I mean, if you have a Sarah riding you like a backpack, have double hooks in your legs, not many people are going to stay that calm in that situation. And
it was definitely like an shit moment. But the whole camp was like, the whole training camp was submission defense, starting in those positions, starting with people on my back, whatever, starting with me mounted, all that kind of stuff. It was all just like, let's put you in the worst spots that this guy is potentially going to put you, and then you got to fight out of it. So definitely the training camp for that, like, definitely paid off and all that good stuff. But yeah, so I fight like I fight a badass, and I feel like I remember not being able to pick my hands up to my face before that fight even started. Like I was so nervous. I probably had lost before the bell even rung, kind of thing,
And even like no offense to your living room fight club, but you're not somebody that grew up in a wrestling mat or on a wrestling mat or in a jiu-jitsu gym. You're somebody like was an athlete for sure, but this is something you started in college, right?
Yeah. Well, yep, pretty much. And so I don't know what Eric's experience, the guy I lost to, was, but so anyway, that was a pretty big setback. Like pretty disappointed. I get a good. My next fight is a decision. One of my better fights, though, if you watch it, it's like I start to really turn things around and I start to really put things together. And I feel like the guy who beat you, Eric, ended up hitting his career is technically 10-3. So he's not a pushover. No, I don't talk about this a lot because it's like whatever. But I've obviously thought about it. It's my life. It was my career. Both guys I lost to, the combined records of the guys I lost to were like 15-1 when I fought them. Like Eric was 9-1, and the other guy I lost to in Bellator was 5-0 with 5 knockouts. And I went to a decision with him, and that was the beginning of a lot of the injuries and stuff that eventually led to my basically retiring from MMA competition. So I am, for the amount of time I was fighting and what I accomplished in that time, I always say I am very proud of what I did. I
absolutely
was maybe, lucky to have some certain connections to be able to get into Elite XC and then Bellator. I fought on Bellator 2, the second Bellator ever.
That's awesome.
And then like Bellator 11 or whatever it was. And to get wins in those companies, like it definitely, obviously, fast forwarding all the way to now, definitely helps give me some legitimacy when it comes to professional wrestling and whatnot. That I'm not just some guy that did MMA for a few years or whatever. I fought in some I fought in some top companies. I was successful in those companies. I'm not. It's as much as like people say it's not a gimmick or whatever. It's like I got my black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in 2015. I've been training, Jiu-Jitsu and Muay Thai since 2004, and I pretty much continue to do that today.
So when it comes to the transition between MMA to professional wrestling, I feel like the professional wrestling world is open arms accepting to people from the MMA world. But if you try to cross over the other direction, it's not as accepting. I feel like they take themselves a little too seriously. They say, get out of here, unless you're obviously like Brock Lesnar or Bobby Lashley.
Well, even Brock Lesnar had Heath Herring apparently thought this was just going to be some joke fight. He didn't realize Brock Lesnar was a NCAA champion.
Yeah, how could he? How he had to have known that Brock was a NCAA champ, though.
Yeah. If he didn't, he's a fool.
I think the only issue with the crossovers was CM Punk, because
I agree.
CM Punk it was just something he wanted to do. He had no, Bobby Lashley, legitimate amateur background, freaking tank of a man, person. Like, he's just, and then Jake Hager also has collegiate experience.
We can go back even further. You have Frank Shamrock, you have Dan Severn. They were both guys who did both.
Ken was a pro wrestler. Ken was a pro wrestler before he was before there was really MMA to do.
Really?
Yeah. If you go back to like 1989, 1990, he was Vince Torelli.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that.
But since we're talking about, not only did you accomplish what you accomplished with the promotions you had, you got your fights called by Frank Shamrock and Marl.
Yeah, that's something I'm always pretty proud of too. Like, it's we were talking about our opinions of Morrow earlier, but
this is so funny.
I love Morrow, Ronaldo.
Actually, Matt, the video chat here is set up to the camera left is the pro Morrow section, and over here is the anti Morrow section.
It's all good. Everyone's got their everyone's got their opinions and stuff. But yeah, I'm a huge Marl fan.
Loved him in MMA. Yeah, I loved him in MMA.
Okay. His argument is like the guy can jump off the top of the cage and he pops, but he also pops the same way for an elbow drop.
Oh, okay.
And I think that lends better to MMA, where like any punch could end the fight.
Yes.
Where
I understand. Yeah. I understand.
But like you said, to each their own. But yeah, it's a running gag on this show that when everybody was loving Mara, I was like,
I loved me a good Mamma Mia. That was just my,
Well, as you're beating Sarah up, he's like, he's obsessed with Lord of the Rings, and right now he could use some help.
he did say something like that. I remember that.
Was it Bugenhagen when he's doing?
I don't even know. He was like, he could use some of that mystical energy now. I don't even know.
Brian, who's the guy that did the great impression of Morrow in NXT?
Oh, it was Mansoor.
Mansoor
did a
Johnny Gargano. But all right, so
the biggest upset since Macklemore won Best New Artist.
Yeah, he loved his hip hop references. If you are in the chat right now live, type in there if you have a question for Matt, or if you're a fan, or you have a question that you never got a chance to ask. We're live right now, baby. So if you wanna put something in there, you can also do that. And share this if you're watching. Help us out. Let people know we're going. So your transition, your injuries, and some other things going on. MMA is a tough world, man. Like the weight cuts, and like you got to dedicate yourself. And a lot of people realize like you're wrestling for Bellator and you're fighting for Bellator and these big companies, but it's not enough to pay the bills and also keep a 40-hour week job and train at that level, because when you're in that company, you're fighting top level guys.
You are pulling words out of my mouth. I mean, it's. I mean, the short story I always give people is like, financially, physically, and like mentally, it just wasn't worth it anymore.
Yeah.
For basically a lot of the reasons you just said, and it's absolutely one of the most grueling careers or sports to participate in, and you also hit a nail on the head with the weight cutting. I mean, it's just a whole nother. That's a whole nother thing in itself. Like just constantly dieting and just feeling guilty eating anything, and then the actual weight cut itself, let alone how difficult that is, but also how potentially unhealthy that is for you to do repeatedly. And I didn't even cut like a whole lot.
I was about to ask you. You fought at 170, but where would you walk around at?
I mean, I'll tell people that like before my last fight, I was was I can't remember how far out. I think it was it was maybe 10 weeks out. I was 205, which is on the bigger side for me. And then just through diet and doing lots of cardio, I would get to like 185 over the course of like 8 weeks.
And did you wrestle it? I know you're a football player. Did you wrestle at all in high school?
Not in high school. No,
I feel like
as a youth.
And you would know this obviously better than any of us here. Don't the wrestlers have, because they're so used to it, have a little leg up on the weight cut because they're so used to doing it?
Yeah, I think it's becomes
well, now, yeah, at this point, I think everybody's doing it. So
yeah, it becomes like second, or they kind of know what's up, and it's just part of the grind, basically. But
so walked around at 200, then through training and dieting through the training process, you would get down to 185.
Then we would do some stuff
before the fight. You'd have to then cut down to 170.
Yeah, we would do some stuff with like water. Like I would drink 2 gallons of water a day for, I can't remember the schedule and the actual thing, but there's a bunch of and this is, I think some high level camps probably have this kind of stuff down to a science, but for at least for their fighter, because everybody's different too. But basically the water thing would it makes you go to the bathroom a lot, and it basically pulls all the nutrients out of your body and then helps you lose weight that way. And then, so by the time I'd get into the sauna, I'd maybe be like 180, 179. And I'd have to sweat like 8 pounds because most athletic commissions allow a 1 pound allowance. So as long as I was under 171 on the scale, I was good. But yeah, then I would put this stuff called Albaline, I think it was called, which is like a makeup remover or something. I can't remember, but it was like this. It's basically like Vaseline. It'd cover my body in it, and then sit in the sauna. I'd bring in a credit card or like any type of plastic thing, and when the sweat would bead, you'd scrape it off. The Albaline stuff was to basically like clog the pores and make your body get hot. So you get
the water back in.
Like Adline or something like that. I think that's what they used to stop cuts with boxers or nosebleeds.
I can't remember. Yeah. It was something that was just like basically to like make you sweat. It just made you start to sweat a lot.
Oh wow.
And then I would you would just scrape. Somebody be in there like scraping scraping the sweat off my back. It's just like it was just like a.
Imagine that's your job. What do you do? I'm the sweat scraper.
Yeah, sweat scraper. There's other crazy things now. Like people are able to do it in hot tubs because you sweat in the hot tub. But I don't know. There's all these different methods.
It's insane what they go through.
It's just probably really not doing that over a long term. Is just, I don't think it's good for your kidneys or anything. You're being dehydrated like that is not good for your brain or any of that stuff.
Yeah. So transitioning from the MMA world over into wrestling, where did your ignite for pro wrestling love come back, and then or did it ever leave the whole time? And then what was the first school you found?
Yeah, it's definitely kind of like, I don't know, I think I fell off like around the tail end of like the Attitude Era or whatever. I just in the mid 2000s. So I'm in Philly, and a photographer for Chikara was dating somebody from my MMA gym, and I think it was King of Trios was going on, and I think he invited me, knew I was like interested in wrestling a little bit or something. So I went along, and I had not really been exposed to the independents at this point. So I only knew like WWE, maybe TNA. And oh my God, this it was like, I think it might've been night 2. I don't remember, but so my first experience of indie wrestling is like the Young Bucks, Kota Ibushi, El Generico, the Colony, whoever else. My mind was blown. I was just like, I can't believe this is a thing. I can't, this is incredible. I didn't realize wrestling could be this like this. And I fell in love with wrestling again. I started following, like, I started watching TNA because it was more similar to what I had seen like at Chikara. The WWE product really just didn't, the in-ring product just really didn't interest me as much. And TNA had like the X Division, you got like Amazing Red and whoever, all those kind of guys that were just like kind of tearing it up. So just became a huge Chikara fan. Any of the shows they did have locally, I would go to. I would try to go to at least one King of Trios show a year if it was like an Easton or anything like that. And yeah, it was always something I like considered. I stopped fighting in 2010, so there's a little bit of overlap there, but I remember going to like the Wrestle Factory website in the early early 2010s or something, and like just kind of clicking around and this kind of looking like, hey, what's this? It's looking at how much it costs, when's the schedule, blah blah blah. Anyway, there's kind of a wide gap here. I fast forward to 2016. The Wrestle Factory is running like open workshops, like free workshops to come try out a class or whatever. It was like basically see if you like this, like literally nothing to lose. It was like 100% free. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go check this out.
That's around the time, correct me if I'm wrong, that they kind of were just relaunching, right?
You mean
maybe
like after the shutdown thing?
Yeah, after the shutdown, after everything.
They had been around for like, I think 3 years. I think Shutdown Angle was 2013 or 2014.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
So yeah.
That was gone for about a year.
Kim, well, no, I'll get to that later. But anyway, I went to this thing and it was awesome. I was like, this is cool. This is a lot like there were some similar things to like the jiu-jitsu training I was doing with like just like whatever rolls and just like stuff I was already kind of good at, and or had done a lot of already. And these free classes were basically just like a feeder into like a paid like 7-week course. And so I was like, yeah, all right, I'll pay like this one-time fee to do this 7-week course. I really enjoyed that. I did the next one. And then actually I took some time off. I had a bit of an injury. All right, let's fast forward to 2018. And I'm like, all right, my injury's gone and I dealt with that. I'm like, all right, I'm doing it. I got nothing. I was kind of depressed. I didn't have a lot going on. Like a lot of stuff at the gym was kind of like just not going well for me. I wasn't in a great headspace. I needed something for myself. I'd been working at this kind of same gym for forever and never really kind of started my own thing or had, I was just kind of floundering, if you will. And man, pro wrestling really helped me with that. I started and it was just like, I had this new energy, like I was learning like new things again. And, started training full time at the Wrestle Factory in 2018. And, it's pretty much everything has been, everything kind of just stemmed from that. It is, here we are now. It's 2021.
When you're training, coming from like this MMA background and still training at the gym and stuff, is there any like habits that you had to unlearn to learn some of the wrestling stuff?
Like don't break a joint.
No, I was pretty good at that. Like that's people
how to gimmick a submission
just to go. As an instructor, I have to work with a lot of people coming in off the street who don't know anything about jiu-jitsu, and the joke was always like, we have to protect ourselves from them because people coming off the street don't know any better and they're just trying to like rip your head off. And so we have to like slow them down and like learn to like, hey, no, this is how you do things, but so I was always good at controlling myself when it came to like, just like sparring friends and things like that. But unlearning things, there were definitely some things with like footwork or movement that they would teach at wrestling that were different than what I was used to. Sure. Even some things with the rolls, like the way I was taught to roll in wrestling was like we kind of go straight over your head and go so you can go in a nice straight line.
Right.
But, in jiu-jitsu or judo, a lot of times you're going over your shoulder, almost so that you don't go over your neck or head. So there's just like little subtle things like that, but it wasn't anything where like it was a problem. I was able usually to adjust. Like if I was at wrestling practice, I could do it the way they wanted me to do it. And if I'm back at jiu-jitsu, I could do, what I was doing there. Nothing crazy. No, go ahead.
When you did, this is jumping back a little bit. I do apologize. When you were getting back into this, when you start discovering Chikara and everything, were you drawn to more of the young bucks, like the aerial amazing red types, or with that MMA background, were you kind of drawn to the people more like that, more like a I don't know if you saw him as Drew Gulak, but Drew Gulak or something like that, for lack of a better.
Yeah. No, I was definitely more of a fan of the fast-paced, like lucha style that Chikara brought to the table. Where and I think a lot of it was the multi-man matches, like these 6-man tags, like the 3-on-3 tags, or these like 1-on-1 matches. Where there's these crazy just like chain of events, these waterfall things happening in the matches were not things I had seen in like on TV in WWE or anything. So
yeah, that was one of the beautiful things about Chikara, was that they did really incorporate things that unless you're watching AAA or something like that, you're not going to see pretty much anywhere else in America.
I appreciated the storytelling, the tone of the shows too. I'm myself a fairly like lighthearted person. I like the atmosphere at Chikara. And I appreciate the storylines too. I wasn't super into comic books, but I do love like the Marvel universe, and I'm really into video games and stuff. So I do love the kind of the storytelling that happened at Chikara. It was very, there was like time travel at one point. There was like a sacred artifact, the eye of Tyr, just all this.
All that. Your first match was the Infinity Gauntlet, correct?
Yes, I guess you could say that. Yeah,
that's the first one you have credited here on Cage Match.
Yeah, Snapmare Matt. God damn it! They need to take that off.
And even the comedy, and this is something I think Camp Leapfrog does excellently. I know we're jumping ahead, and and I'm not just saying this to kiss up to the guy down here, but I think Camp Leapfrog does that excellent, where the comedy's a gateway. Like the comedy might draw you in. Oh, you see this funny thing on YouTube. That's how I got started with Chikara. I got started really getting into Chikara watching YouTube videos of Ultramanus Black and Crossbones, and then you like watch some of the matches, like, oh wow, they're doing some good stuff when the bell rings too.
Yeah. So going into Chikara, obviously that's a style completely than what you're normally used to. I'm not sure exactly how much depth you went into at Wrestle Factory, but you're going into a more of that different style where you're coming from, you're working on your strikes and your submissions, and you're bringing that character into Chikara. What was that adjustment like?
I'd have to talk to some of my peers who were around at the same time, but nobody knew I was like an MMA fighter or a jiu-jitsu black belt for like months or maybe even a long time. I think what really happened was one day at practice, we did like a shoot wrestling drill, and I was like, okay, I'm going to wrestle now. And then, don't get me wrong, there were some of my classmates were like maybe good high school wrestlers and stuff too. So it's like they weren't like slouches, but I was able to hit like a cool like transition into like an arm bar or something, and they were kind of like, "What's going on here?" And I was kind of like, I'm actually a black belt in jiu-jitsu. But like nobody asked. Like it's weird, and I'm a pretty humble, like timid guy. I'm not gonna be like. They saw that I was athletic because I could do some things, like whatever. Like I got like kip ups pretty early, and some of the people that had been there were still kind of working on it. But that all didn't come out until for a while, just because like nobody asked, and I'm not going to be that guy that's like.
You're very quiet. You keep to yourself a lot.
I'm not. Well, when I was fighting in Bellator, like fucking blah blah, I don't know. It's just like if somebody asked me what was up, I talked to him about it. But other than that, I was just kind of like that guy Matt for a while, until it finally came out. And then I think somebody Googled me or something and found like photos or videos of some fights and stuff. Yeah. But yeah, I also just in my own brain, like thought it'd be interesting to have an MMA guy at Chikara. Like, I just thought the juxtaposition of like this is eventually kind of what happened. Who knows? Like I'll say, I think I could say this. Like me and my wife had a joke where she's like, you're going to be a seahorse, right? You're going to end up being a seahorse. Like that's the joke. It's like, are you going to be a seahorse? It's like I was like so hoping I wasn't going to be a seahorse. Because like, look, there's been some stuff recently where like people are like, I didn't choose this gimmick and I'm gonna do this, that, and the other thing, and I understand. Like, we were very much, the students at the factory were very much kind of cast into a role that was maybe needed or that Mike had in mind, and you were kind of given your gimmick or whatever.
Who all was in your class, and are you still close with them now?
Oh yeah, I mean, so this gets into like the Crucible angle.
I was going to bring it up. Do you think that might have been why they kind of kept you?
Well,
you never know. Yeah, that's true.
I don't know if anyone would ever admit this or anything, but it's just like it seemed like that whole thing was like built for me, or not maybe not specifically for me, but like it was like, all right, the timing is right. We got this guy and this guy and this guy, and we got Matt. He's an MMA guy. Like this is gonna work. Because I don't know, from what I understand, we always joked about how the storylines at Chikara worked, and like there's this giant notebook or there's this big poster board with all these pins.
I imagine the Pepe Sylvia scene from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Exactly. And I don't know, this one just kind of fit. I always heard that the Crucible kind of angle was kind of on the burner and ready to get put out there somehow. I don't know, but yeah, it was like me and Devontes, Jet Jagori, as he's known now, Xavier Faraday, Akbar, who's actually in Singapore right now. He was a guy that was in my first match when in Chicago. We wrestled the Colony. Me, Matt DeMorist, and Akbar. Tunku Amir was his name.
Yeah.
And Tunku's in Singapore, and he's got like 30,000 Instagram followers now or something. He's like
a fitness guy.
He started a fitness Instagram page, and it like
the
blew
Buffester.
up.
That's what it
is. Yes.
Now, if he ever comes back, he's going to be Akbar the influencer. That's going to be his thing.
Akbar the influencer.
He blew up in Singapore, so I mean, good for him. I think he's making a living doing that stuff. But Matt DeMorist is another guy who's like super humble, really quiet. He's for lack of a better term, like a backyard wrestling legend. And he just showed up at the factory one day, and he's like a bigger guy, and he was kind of maybe bigger when he started training. And he's doing like full kip ups off his back and stuff. And we're like, what is going on? This guy's insane. And lo and behold, he can do like whatever spiral taps or whatever the hell they're called, 450s. He can do all this stuff. He's amazing. I always called him like he's like a whatever, like a 280 pound like Alex Zane or something. He was just he's insane. But he's a guy that I really looked up to. I got to tag with him a lot. A lot of the creativity you see is just like I was trying to like kind of keep up with him, because he was he's known for like just I don't know if he created moves or whatever. He's just like a lot of guys watch backyard tapes and they see Matt and they take from him. Like a lot of guys that are on the in WWE or New Japan and stuff will kind of go back and watch some of his old stuff. But yeah, I still keep in touch with all those guys. We're all pretty close. A lot of the stuff that did go down at Chikara brought a lot of us like kind of closer together even. And then even now with Leapfrog, it's an opportunity to kind of stay close. We get to work with each other still, and get to see each other every couple months and stuff. So that's been really great.
Yeah. So you're just kind of to dive into that a little bit. So you're getting your feet underneath you. You feel like you're getting comfortable in the ring. You're at Chikara, which I mean, there's people who listen to interviews and are like, man, I would dream to be at Chikara. Like that's a place, and then you end up getting in there. You're making a name for yourself. Everything's going pretty well. Chikara is about to start a whole new, I believe, the arcade program where they're going to work there, and that's going to bring a lot of new guys in and start careers and do that. And then, unfortunately, everything that went down there, not so much diving into what happened, but from your perspective, you're now like you have to start over. You know, it's kind of like it's gone. What is the rebuilding process, and how did that come about, and how did you enter that next phase of your career?
So it's kind of tying into like what we talked about earlier with the gimmicks and stuff is, you know, I was basically myself in Chikara. You know, I was using my regular name, and I was basically a guy. I was in this fight club, but you know, I was an MMA guy that I was basically me, you know. Maybe there was definitely some tweaks there with the Crucible storyline and whatnot, but so when everything happened with Chikara, I don't know. It almost, it's possible. And again, I don't want to rub any feathers the wrong way, but like, it's possible that was a blessing in disguise for me. Who knows? Because, you know, the state of, I now could, with the little bit of push that I was given at Chikara, I could just kind of take that and run with it. And don't get me wrong, I had already, while Chikara was up still, I had done Bloodsport. I was in Beyond.
Pizza Party, right?
Yeah, I accomplished like a lot of my goals real early. Like I wanted to wrestle at Beyond. I wanted to get in Bloodsport, and I think within 6 months I had done those two things. And Beyond Wrestling was running a weekly, you know, show on IWTV. They were running they had a Discovery Gauntlet, which was basically a showcase for like new talent, and I got picked to do that. So I was like incredibly lucky for that. And then the Bloodsport thing was a lot of that was because Ophidian was working at GCW at the time, and I got to meet the promoter at GCW and sent. I was posting video. I made a highlight. I don't know if maybe Josh saw my highlight too. A lot of the footage of the Crucible, which was like shoot style type of matches, which of course with no ropes, which is exactly what Bloodsport is. And so I feel like I was a perfect fit there. As far as in-ring style and it goes, I was a very, I'm still working on becoming a name on the independents, but I was basically a nobody at that point.
And even though you don't try to consciously flaunt it, your pedigree I think helps too. Like,
yeah,
oh yeah, this if you look, you can look up.
Oh yeah, the fights and stuff. Yeah. It's tough. Like I'm very proud of what as I said, of what I accomplished. But like I'm not, like Tom Lawler, Matt Riddle, these guys.
Yeah,
Shayna Baszler, obviously Ronda Rousey, who was the world champion. I did a lot. I think I did a lot of great things in a short period of time, but like those, like a guy like Tom, who I really like look up to, as what are you saying, Alex? You're freaking me out.
Oh, he's reading the chat.
I'm sorry. I was sorry for laughing while you were speaking, but Big Dan is in the comments. He said, "Take your shirts off."
Like Big Dan champion?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Only 25% of that could possibly be good.
Yeah, you'd only probably want to see this block underneath here with their shirt off. Everybody else, it would just be a nightmare for everybody.
All right, well, Dan, if you want it.
But yeah, basically what I was getting at is like I don't have like these elite MMA credentials. I do feel like, again, I'm when it comes to like mixed martial arts skills, I am I'm legitimate, or whatever you want to say.
Yeah, I think that's a sport where people respect the game, because if you go in there and train, and even if you do 1 or 2 fights, the fact that you were able to step in that cage, close the door behind you, and literally, and I'm not trying to like oversell it here or anything, but like you can not walk out of there the same person you walked in as. You can get an arm, you can get a leg, you can get choked out. You can, like, I'm not trying to make it over what it is, but you can die. Like you can you're fighting in there. Like I know both guys are there, but your overall objective is to incapacitate your opponent. You're not in there playing games. Like you're in there to hurt the other person. And I think anyone who's willing to step in that cage and close that door, and even if you do it once or you do it 100 times, you demand that respect, and you should get that respect.
And even beyond that, I know you're not like a household name like Sarah or like Tom would have been, or Basil or somebody like that. But if somebody sees you on the card and Googles, oh, Matt Makowski, never heard of him, they're going to say, this guy, not only did he fight, he won 75% of his fights. He was bought for big name companies. So I think that does carry a little bit of weight. And then obviously when you, I'm going to kind of step into something here that Tony might want to bring up later. He was very excited to tell me you were going to be on the show because, like, every time we reviewed a Leapfrog show, I'm like, if I'm buying stock in a wrestler, I'm buying stock in Matt Makowski. Then you can deliver the goods when it comes on.
Brian was your first cheerleader on the podcast.
Appreciate it. Awesome.
I get so overwhelmed with Leapfrog because I watch a show, and because I'm still new to the independent scene, the only things I really experience for PPW are Outbreak. I then see everybody from all over Philly, New York, New Jersey, all over the place come to Leapfrog. And then by the end of the show, I'm so overwhelmed because there's not a stinker on the card. There's not one person who's like, I'm not going to be a fan of them. Like everyone, you're like that. It looks like the filming is good time. It looks like everyone there is friendly. It looks like everyone there is having a great time, and it translates to the ring. And then the match is fantastic. And like how you were saying before, it could be comedy, it could be serious, it could be everything. Like Leapfrog has, for me personally, opened up to new styles of wrestling that I didn't think I was a fan of. Now I want to seek out more.
Because you do get a little bit of everything. Like just that first show, and with Matt, he was in the tag match there. For me, it was it might have been a trio. Yeah, it was a trio, I think.
Yeah,
it was. No, the first Camp Leapfrog.
Oh yeah, me and Molly and Travis versus Vita and Oreo Speedwagon.
Salt the ice.
Salt the ice. That's right. But it was something you brought up a little while ago. We talked about even training. It was the transitions. Like, whoa, those transitions are so good. And then a little bit later, you have all this comedy, you have all these fun interstitials, but then you also have now she's going by Edith Surreal and Cheeseburger, world famous CB. Yeah. And they do it. You have this funny setup, but they're doing a British rounds match. So there is a lot that's going on there.
Mm-hmm. And it brings style, like how you're saying, it brings styles and matches out. You're like, you didn't know existed, and you want to seek them out. There's a match coming up that was done in like a Pure Rule style, and I watched the match, and I'm being honest, I never really watched Pure Rule style before, and then I seen it happen, and I was like, I want to see more of that. And then I researched it, and then I'm seeing like another person I'm a fan of who's in ROH who's doing Pure Rule styles in depth, and I'm like, now I want to go see Pure Rule's match. I like because I left pro wrestling to be an MMA fan, and then coming back and seeing people who are MMA people now entering the wrestling world and seeing transitions and seeing this, like where the strikes look crisp, but it's not just like stomping your feet to make your punch look good. Like you can pull your punch, or you can maybe land it without following through, which like it makes professional wrestling more entertaining for me. Like
now, this is more of a question for Alex. In Leapfrog, are you still allowed to slap your leg or your thigh?
That's fine.
Is that okay?
Tons of fine.
There may be something getting banned in the future. I don't know. That's up to Ethan Wild and the.
That's true. Yeah, I forgot. Commissions in there
Wild.
now.
Money's flying out the door at that. But no, like it's just really like I haven't had a match in professional wrestling that made me feel like I was a little kid watching wrestling again, where I was just like, or even someone who was watching a UFC pay-per-view where I was like, holy crap, this is unbelievable. Than when Kyle O'Reilly and Finn Balor went at it. Like I was like, to me, like I'm a Sean fan. Sean Brett Iron Man match is my favorite match of all time. But when I seen Kyle and Finn go at it, I'm like, that might be my favorite match I've ever watched. Like I was like, I wanted to punch a punching bag after. Like I was so fired up. Like
that's awesome.
It was such a good match. Like
yeah.
And then it's like, well, if you like, and I was telling Brian, and we were talking about in the podcast, because if you're a fan of that, go watch Bloodsport. You'll love it. And then I was like, I need to go see that now. Like, there's so many different avenues, and I think Leapfrog shows that off very well.
Awesome.
Yeah. So,
and that avenue will be coming up very soon as well.
Yeah.
In April.
You had some ninjas attack you.
That's right. Man, I'm at practice one day, and like I'm talking to Ryan and CB, and then they're not in the office anymore. I'm like, I don't know. They left, I guess. I go out in the hallway. CB's in his full gear, standing there, And I'm like, what's going on, man? And then Ryan grabs me from behind, and they just start trying to beat the shit out of me, and I had to defend myself. And then there's like the lights go off, they're gone, and there's a scroll on my bag. I'm like, what the hell is this? And it's like, you're invited to host Frog Sport. And I'm like, what the hell's Frog Sport? So I don't know. We're all gonna find out what Frog Sport is. I think it's sometime in late April there. But
I'm very excited to see who all gets scrolls. I cannot wait for this show. It's every time I see a frog, a Camp Leapfrog, I'm like, man, there's no way they can get better. And then every single time they get better, and I'm super excited to see what Frog Sport is. And, you're the host of it. You're hosting your first camp here.
Yeah, I I don't even really know what that entails yet. So we're gonna see. I mean, I think maybe the ninjas was or hypnotizing CB and Ryan was some kind of test. So I don't know. Hopefully I passed, and we will. I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. But if I
hope nobody tries to undermine you like they did poor Edith Surreal. I still feel bad for it.
I will say this. I said there hasn't been a better fight scene in a hallway since Netflix did it with Daredevil. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
So not only do you have that coming up with the Frog Sport, Bloodsport coming back again. Bloodsport 6 Thursday 4/18 at 9 p.m.
Big day for Matt. Big day for Matt that day.
Yeah, you're working double duty, right?
Yeah, I've got 2 matches. We got a little leapfrog action on the IWTV showcase. Yeah. It's me, a very good professional wrestler, and Travis.
I think
trio right there.
Well, all threes are going to be fantastic together. But Travis is another one I fell in love with at Camp Leapfrog. Just very, very entertaining. You guys look amazing in blonde mullets.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then your opponents, Boomer Hatfield, another one fell in love with Erica Lee, fantastic, and the Boar. I mean, that's
I'm still mad at Boomer Hatfield. I want you to break his arm, please.
All right.
He tried to make me choose between the main event and the runway. I don't like that.
Oh man.
Oh, that's tough. That's tough.
I feel like Boomer might be my kryptonite. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Christmas trees, yeah. And the Cibernetico.
Yeah.
I will say that I have this. Matt sucks eggs.
You ripped it up right now. You ripped that up right
hilarious.
now.
Yeah, this is a sign laying next to me and Alf when we were.
Yeah, it's funny.
I
don't know if it had anything to do with Travis accidentally hitting me in the crotch with an egg at the. I think it was the Halloween show.
That's right.
Yeah. Anyway. But yeah, Bloodsport Thursday evening. I'm going 1-on-1 with Hetty French. I believe I don't know how to say his last name. I think it might be Caraway, but he's a he's Inoki and Billy Robinson trained, I believe. He wrestles a lot in Japan. He does a lot. He's like shoot style in lucha, kind of like what we were talking about earlier in Chikara, but yeah, he's wrestled a lot in Mexico.
And that is a lineage, that Robinson lineage, even in pro wrestling. Forget MMA. Shayna Baszler, Davey Boy Jr., Barnett himself is an excellent pro wrestler.
So yeah, it should be interesting.
He's currently the WWA World Lightweight Champion, the XWW Masters Champion, and the Lucha Libre TSW Cancun Champion.
Yeah, are those all companies from Mexico?
I believe so. Yeah, WWA definitely is.
The WWA, he's been reigning champion for 2,675 days.
Okay.
Mascaras, watch out.
I still have to. I'm still doing more research. I still want to find some more matches of his, but I found a match of his from Japan from it was almost 12 years ago.
Yeah.
So I was checking that out. But yeah, he's been all over the world. So it's maybe not somebody that the American independent fans are super familiar with, but it's definitely an intriguing matchup. And we're gonna see how things go down. That whole card is kind of this one is very unique in a way where you got some of those GCW regulars like Schlack and Mercer or
Super
Shane.
Beast, right?
Yeah. And then what's another one? Oh, Rocky Romero and
Chavo.
Chavo. Yeah.
Chavo Jr., yeah.
It's just so. And then of course Mox and Barnett. It's a pretty stacked show.
Awesome.
I'm super I'm super excited. So and then the next day I'm on the Have Fun Be Sad show. I'm wrestling Adam Priest. You guys know who that is? He just won the New South like Hoss tournament. But yeah, I think that's the noon show on Friday.
Oh, okay. In New South, that's where Lee Moriarty won the IWTV title.
Yeah, I think it was on that show. This is like
it's like King of Trios. It was over 2 nights, I think, not 3, but 2 nights.
I think this is in association with Action and SUP, or Southern Underground Pro.
And then down the line, you're in the Super 8, which is like the oldest indie tournament there is.
Super 8.
I just did my research on that, and I was looking at some of the past winners of that. Holy hell, there's some names that came out of Super.
Oh yeah, well, and even I looked at the whole. I looked at everybody, and yeah, it's like there's so many people that have been in that. So I'm
maybe I'm being selfish because I'm a Camp Leapfrog fan, but even I was a fan of this guy even before Camp Leapfrog. But if it comes down to you and Killian, I'm gonna lose my shit. That'd be.
I definitely want Killian. If I can, I don't think he was originally gonna be in it, but now he is a very good professional wrestler.
He's the reigning champion.
Is back in it again. So I had talked to him. I don't think this is bad for me to say or anything, but I don't think he was gonna be in it, and then all of a sudden he was. So it's interesting. But yeah, Ricky Morton.
Oh, that's so fun.
Yeah, and then some of the other names on there. So it's that's early May. What else? Yeah, I have a bunch of tapings, stuff that'll get announced in the coming weeks. And also I'm going to be announced for one of the bigger IWTV independents soon. So that's a place that I've wanted to work. I got to work for, so that's another kind of check mark on the box. Yeah.
So sorry. You have anything else?
No, I think that's all.
So we always like to put people over. That's our thing here. Like drop some names and say something. So who are some names in the independent scene, or some guys you maybe came across with at some shows, or maybe you even wrestled and maybe they got the better of you? Who are some people you would like to lock up with at some point in time?
On the independents, whenever someone asks me this, I always just want to say whoever's got the belt.
Yeah.
Because I don't.
Have you held any titles yet?
I don't. Not yet.
You would look good with that Leapfrog title.
Leapfrog needs some tag team titles. They have an amazing tag team division.
So we just got to find the right wood,
That's right. Yeah. Not balsa that'll break apart.
I tend to not have those kind of lists. Like somebody asked me about Bloodsport matchups, and it was a lot of kind of like fantasy stuff. There's a guy named Carl Greco, or Carl Malenko. He went by. He was an old battle arts guy. He's a guy that maybe would like to wrestle, and then Suzuki, like Cody Rhodes. If we could get Cody Rhodes to do Bloodsport,
that'd be cool.
There you go.
I'm wearing my Cody shirt right now.
But on the independents, I mean, man, I don't know. Let's say Garcia, Moriarty, Dom's a friend of mine, but Guarini, if Tom's is still around, Tom Lawler.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're on a collision course, but a very good professional wrestler. I think that'll happen eventually.
Now, if you want to try to pick a fight with Tom, just get Loves and put it on the back, or Huggies, and put it on the back of your tights.
Pampers.
Ryan, who's the names at Leapfrog that you would like to see, Matt, or even Alex? Who are the guys coming from you guys? Who are some people you want to see Matt square up with?
This is a little outside the box, but Edith Surreal. I think she's very good as far as that technical side.
I've been in the ring. Yeah, I guess only with her once. It was.
Well, I mean, you have the common background there.
Yeah, off the top of my head, I would like to see you work Darius Carter. I'd like to see you work a very good professional wrestler and
Absolutely.
Killian McMurphy as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I would also throw Violence. Because I think every time he's been asked to step up to the plate at Leapfrog, he stepped up. He's been fantastic. I'm a big fan of him.
Yeah, he was kind of the highlight of the first two shows. He had like his own special world match.
Yeah. Killian, I agree 100% with Killian. I think
Absolutely.
he'd be fun.
Here we go. Erica Lee. I know you've done like trios, like one-on-one. Erica Lee.
Sure.
Yeah.
Suplex machine.
Oh, I forgot. This is backtracking a little bit, but I have a big match airing this Thursday. I forgot to mention this. The Beyond Wrestling, Greatest Rivals Round Robin final.
Oh yes,
me and Dickinson. So that's at that's on IWTV this Thursday at 8:00.
And if they ever do a second season of IWTV The Masked Wrestler, that is where we can have Seahorse.
Oh yes.
I thought about I always joke like it'd be impossible for me to do that because like my style, like I would do one of my moves and it would be like, okay, that's bad.
Yeah,
pretty much.
I was convinced after the first episode Genkai was you.
Somebody thought that was.
I
was getting that a lot.
I was tweeting like, I know who it is, and I knew who most everyone else was though.
But I feel like I could, because of my training at like the Wrestle Factory and stuff. I feel like I would be able to disguise my style enough to. I could maybe go like full lucha where I'm just trying to do arm drags to everybody and like, you know what I mean? Instead of like whatever, I won't even do an arm bar, like no arm bars.
Yeah. That's cool.
Stuff like that.
But that Genkai thing there, you and Lee book it for the title. Let's do it.
Are you going to become like Demetrius Johnson, where you're going to try to see where you can pull an arm bar from in the middle of a match at any point in time? Like,
have you seen this man wrestle? That's what he does.
Yeah, I mean, you do the razor's edge into the arm bar, like
the arm bar out of a torture rack.
Yeah, do you have anything else up your sleeve that you?
I think I've got another one in my brain right now that I haven't done yet, so it might. We'll see. I don't know. But I am. It's now. It's. I don't want to like set the bar too high where like they expect me to do a new arm bar every show. I'm gonna ride. I'm gonna ride the 3 or 4 that I have out for a while and see where that takes me. But I do want to keep
Canadian Destroyer.
Dude, I'm like it's gonna be there. It's something one day I'm gonna think of it like just.
It reminds me so much of Roderick Strong back in the day with the backbreakers.
Yeah, that's what people say sometimes. You're like you're the Roddy Strong of arm bars. That's what people have said that to me.
My dream match outside of the independent scene for you, I would love to see you and Kyle O'Reilly.
That's a guy I bring up a lot because he does remind me a lot of myself, just like from a physique standpoint and then like skill set and kind of like how he wrestles and stuff.
He could be serious or he could be comedy.
Yeah. So that would be like Kushida is a guy that I like. He's a guy I watched a lot and kind of got a lot of inspiration from. So, yeah.
So is there anything we missed? Anything you want to plug? Well, actually, I just remembered you're talking about video games. You have a gaming stream channel on Twitch TV, right?
Yeah, so that was like one of those things. It's like it's the pandemic. It's like, what are we doing? I'm like, and it was something I have been thinking about for months. I was like,
we're currently live on Twitch, so if anyone's watching something, where can they go to find your channel?
Weapon X Matt. It's at twitch.tv/Weapon X Matt. And I like to have some fun on there. I play games with some wrestling buddies. I do like a shoot style showcase show every Sunday. I watch shoot style matches and I'll do commentary on those and we'll chat about them, like old like Battle Arts, Pancrase, rings, just basically all UWFI, all that like kind of classic shoot style wrestling, and then throw some like whatever in there. We've watched some UFC on there, like stuff that's on YouTube that they have up on YouTube.
it's just kind of like, I call it like shoot style Sunday. It's just like kind of whatever, anything that pertains to like shoot style MMA, maybe even it might not be shoot style matches, but like we'll watch like Mako Satomura and stuff. Like anyone that has like kind of a more martial arts style in their skill set, we'll check them out on there.
Are you guys kind of like up, down, down, where you game with some of your independent buddies, like on the scene?
Yeah, like I play a lot with Max. Shout out to Max Zero.
How much better is he at gaming now that he doesn't have to wear a mask?
I don't know. I don't think he wore his mask while he's gaming, but he streams occasionally too. He might do it more now that he's unmasked. I think he didn't have a
bastard too.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I have like a button on my stream now where I can put his face up on the screen whenever I want. So I do that.
It's like Juventud Guerrero. Like he takes the wrestlers. Like, why do they have him wearing a mask?
But yeah, CC. I play with CC Boost. Phil.
Alex has a little history with him.
Don't we?
Phil Stamper. Pancakes. Because we'll play like Jackbox, Among Us. A lot of
I
those,
saw
like,
the Jackbox prepping for the show. That's like a lot of. You're even playing with the audience too, right?
Yeah. So it's a good time. It's a lot of times it's all positive because a lot of times it's just the internet can be so negative over the course of the day, and then I feel like it's a great place for people to go and just get some laughs and chat wrestling or whatever.
Do you think it's helped at all having to keep talking through a stream? Do you think that's helped at all with like promos and stuff in wrestling, just being able to go off your head?
I've thought about that. I don't like putting myself down, but it's just like I'm not the best off the cuff talker guy. But absolutely, it's something I've been trying to improve on. And
it's like anything, repetition.
Yeah, it's. I don't think as much it's a promo thing. It's more just like being a good conversationalist, right? With the Twitch. Promos would be more like me promoting the show or whatever. But yeah, everything's kind of a work in progress.
So one thing I do request to Alex here is, as someone who's part of Leapfrog, I heard some trash talk in our previous podcast. Give another shout out to the Brother Love podcast.
Brotherly Love podcast is something completely different. That's that guy from Alabama.
Brotherly Love pod. I think it's because of the Philly in it. I'm just trying not to give him too much credit.
Brother Makowski.
Yeah, but some people, they like the foosball has been brought up, air hockey, and a lot of these things that can be done at post Leapfrog events where I think some people need to settle some scores. Pancakes thinks he can beat Matt here in some foosball, and it got a little heated.
Oh yeah, were you around for that? That was
hilarious. I heard the podcast. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Pancakes has like
very confident man.
Yeah, I was just gonna say he's got it's good that he's confident, but sometimes he takes it too far. Yeah, a little bit overconfident, a little bit of like, just I don't know. Somebody told him at some point, like, man, you need to be more confident. So then he just took it. He took that and took it way.
Maybe he had parents that just told him how awesome he is his whole life. Like I like something parent who's like,
I'm sitting like 30 feet from a foosball table, so like he's not coming close to beating me at foosball.
We found the one thing that Matt is not humble about.
I'm competitive as hell. I'm not great at everything, but like I'm gonna try my damnedest. And I grew up playing a lot of like just those kind of games. I guess I had like my dad and then his like three his brothers. So they were always competitive with each other. And once I got of age to kind of hang, I was like whatever, ping pong, board games, any of that kind of stuff,
I used to have one of those. I know we brought up in that podcast as well. Is the dome hockey where you had to it was like each person.
Yes,
I had a Ninja Turtles one where everyone I was a Ninja
Is it a turtle? That's great.
It was I have Casey Jones. I wish I still had it.
That's awesome.
I had the WWF Superstars,
like hockey game.
Yeah, like the what we called like the
rod hockey or
Yeah, where you had the little rods and you would just spin them around. Yeah, they had a WWF one. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Earthquake and Tugboat were the goalies, and then like Hulk Hogan and Jake the Snake.
Saying this right. What are those games called? Like, what are those hockey games called?
I always called them rod hockey or table hockey, but that might
bring up air hockey. But yeah, I have like 5 of the old ones from like the 60s and 70s. They're like Bobby Hull.
Holy shit! So
Yeah.
this
They're like little tin. Oh, you found one?
I found one on eBay. The WWF 1999 retro wrestling superstar shootout table hockey game on eBay is $424.
Mine's long gone. You mean 89? Because mine was like back in the day. It was Hulk Hogan. It wasn't like Stone Cold.
This one doesn't look as cool, but like $1 Million Man, Mr. Perfect, Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the
Jake
one.
Snake.
That's awesome.
There's another one on here that's for $10,000.
Jeez.
Just Hulk Hogan alone. If you just want to buy the Hulk Hogan piece, $30.
I wish I still had that thing.
Wow.
I'd be selling it.
Yeah. I'm gonna look at Ninja Turtles real quick.
But, that's not like a horrible idea because not many people know this, but some people do sleep over at Leapfrog. So
I think when you said it's not a horrible idea, I think you're going to say a Leapfrog hockey table.
Well, you
have to find somebody to make Molly McCoy the best one, though. That's
yeah, like gimmick it a little bit.
Yeah, the environment.
Molly McCoy's Open Challenge
got to be involved in part of the live show, and I will say this as someone who was an outsider who's now been welcomed into the Leapfrog family. It's like nothing you'd ever experience. Everyone there is so welcoming, so cool. If you think the matches are so awesome, watching it, being there live is unbelievable. Everyone there is so talented. It was an honor to be there. Like I told Alex, like I drove home after the second night and I was like in my car, like I got emotional. I was like, man, it was super cool to be a part of. Like it was nice.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of the same vibe we had at Chikara. It was like very much, I guess because we're like part of this roster and it became like a family and that kind of all carried over to Leapfrog.
Yeah. So we plugged the Twitch. You got your Instagram. Also, brand new to you is the brand new merch page. So Big Cartel.
Yeah, Matt Makowski Big Cartel. I've had it for a little bit. Just that shirt and the pin is new. I have a new shirt and
is that Metal Gear Solid one still available?
It's final. It's off of Final Fantasy. It's like inspired from Final Fantasy
7 and 8.
I should do a Metal Gear Solid shirt though. I love that.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
It's a couple sizes. Again, I have I literally have the shirts. So and then I send them out and everything. So
the one I ordered, if you want to put a little signature on there, I won't.
Yeah, those are going out Monday. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
Listen, I try to get everyone who's on the show. My wife, once she sees these next 5 shirts come in, she's going to be really upset. I have way too many wrestling shirts. I'm doing a challenge now. I think I'm up to day 96.
Oh yeah, I think I've seen some of your posts.
It's a lot, and I'm not even close to done.
Once that stimulus hit, we had a nylon shortage just because of him.
Yeah, you know how there's that microchip that they can't put in the new systems. It's like that with cotton with me. I have too many T-shirts. Yeah. But I loved. I'm trying to get my independent shirt game up higher. I would go to Outbreak shows and Outbreak or PPW and I'd leave there 80. I would be with Brian and I'd be like, I only got $40 is my limit. I'm buying 2 shirts and I'm out of here. Yeah. And then I go over and then I'm sitting there and somebody goes in the ring and wrestles and I'm like, I'm gonna have to have a T-shirt.
Yeah, I feel like a bartender. I feel like a bartender. Like, you've had enough.
Yeah. He's like, please stop, Tony. Your wife's gonna kill you. And then I come back with 2 bags full of T-shirts and I'm sneaking them in the house and quick hide them in my drawers so my wife doesn't see. But if you're a wrestler and you have cool T-shirts, please send me. I will definitely wear them. I love it. It's my kryptonite. But yeah, you got your merch page. Follow you on all social media. Anything else you want to plug before we get out of here, Matt?
No. Oh, I got. I'm wrestling tomorrow on IWTV. 4:00. We're doing it. It's a H2O. It's a Tara Calloway recently had an injury, and she's got she's dealing with a lot of medical bills. So it's a kind of a tribute or a show to support Tara. And then I'll be on IWTV Thursday with Beyond. There's a live show after that. They're coming back. I might be on that. And then Saturday is another H2O Sean Henderson event, the Wrestle Cup. I'm going to be on that too. So yeah, just
gonna be if you have an IWTV subscription, check it out.
It's like $10 a month. It's absolutely fantastic. There's so much cool stuff in there. We talked about the Masked Wrestler where they just have all these and they wrestle and you have to try to guess who they are and then they unmask. It's a fantastic show. You can check out
some big names on it too. Wheeler Yuta, Tony Deppen. We brought him up earlier. Yeah, some Lady Frost, some huge names.
Two or three times now, Deppen. You and Deppen went at it.
Yeah. Just wrestled Tony at the Beyond.
Are you a beer drinker?
Not quite. No.
Deppen starting a brewery. He makes some good beers.
Yeah.
Deppen's also making some noise this weekend.
Yeah, that ROH thing yesterday was sick. I'm so happy for him and Chris, and I want to
another guy I have a history with, Chris Dickinson.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
definitely
for me.
I think IWTV is canceling their promo code soon. Did I read that right? Where they said all promo codes end at the end of the month or end of next month or something?
They may be putting a pause on it because people are going to abuse it for Mania weekend because there's so many shows.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
If I had to suspect something, that's what, and I don't know that. Obviously, I have nothing to do with IWTV.
Oh, is that the free 5? Oh, so you can't get the free 3 days. Okay.
Yeah, so you can't do the 5 free days.
If you have your code you want to check out before Mania weekend, use code Leapfrog and subscribe, and definitely go check out past Leapfrog shows. You can check Matt out this weekend, watch his shows. Like I said, he's on Beyond. He's on a bunch of things on there. IWTV, if you're a wrestling fan and you really support the indie scene, definitely go check them out. Also, you can go on IWTV shop and buy your own Leapfrog t-shirt after you go buy Matt's, of course.
You can. I ordered a few shirts off of there because now that I know that you're on H2O tomorrow, I have like a full day of wrestling to watch because the Cassandra Cup's also tomorrow. But I ordered a damn t-shirt. That's right. And it hasn't gotten here in time for the Cassandra Cup. I'm kind of pissed off.
Now that's going to have some Leapfrog talent. You have Erica Lee, right? Edith Surreal,
Killian,
and one other.
Darius is on there as well.
Darius, yeah, that's right.
Yep.
I forgot. I'll be on Paradigm Pro Wrestling doing the UWFI. They're on the season 2. It's a Wednesday night show on IWTV. I was introduced as a member of Team Filthy this past Wednesday. I didn't wrestle.
When I told you people to buy stock in him, you should have listened. Listen to all this stuff.
But I'll be wrestling on that. I'm actually going to be wrestling Hoodfoot for the belt. He beat Akira for the PPW Paradigm Pro Wrestling Heavy Hitters Championship. So I'll be wrestling him soon, I believe.
Well, we thank you again for coming on. Hopefully nothing bad happens at Frog Sport where you get fatalited or anything. And if you do make your way out of Frog Sport, we'd love to have you back on to do our review show of Frog Sport. We'd like to watch it and then we do a review show. Maybe we'll bring this entire panel back. Hopefully by then, knock on wood, we get some shots in the arms, we get some vaccines. Brian can join the table again.
Yeah, I saw you guys are scheduled for this week. I am too, actually.
Tony and I may have a vaccine date this week.
I'm getting my second on Monday. So
we're going for our first on Friday. So me and Brian are hopefully they can sync up our microchips. You know,
review Frog Sport and our DNA transition.
Yeah, we're going to turn into superheroes. That's what I'm hoping for. You know. The government rewards us that you can actually become Weapon X and get cool bone claws. So definitely we'd love to have you back. Anytime you have anything going on, man, we'd love to have you. You like I said, Brian definitely has been singing your praises for a long time. He was very excited to have you on. Our next guest is going to be Devontae's. We just scheduled that one. We'll be announcing that day very soon.
Like if you are serious,
another Super 8.
We got to get Huckabee on so we can have that whole trio.
Yeah,
I'm currently in a best of 5 with Devontae's on Catalyst Wrestling, which is not as I don't know if you guys ever heard of Catalyst, but they run on a lot. They're everywhere. I don't know. They're not on IWTV, but they're on
like YouTube,
like Fight, and I think they run on cable TV in some state or something, like one of those deals. But yeah, I'm currently in a best of 5 with Devontae's, so he's actually one up on me right now. So
me and Devontae's are going to double team Brian here as our love for the Washington football team.
Brian, when you see Devontae's, tell him I said hello.
Wait till Caps fan until we get Molly and McCoy on this show. Just wait.
She's tough. I don't want to mess with her. If she
right.
in person asks me if I'm a Philly fan, I'm going to say yes. She's awesome. But yeah, if you're in the business, a wrestler, manager, referee, we'd love to have you on and come talk to us. We're not too bad. We're not going to go crazy here. It's just more of a fun conversation. We'd love to have you and talk more. So definitely keep an eye on Matt. I'm telling you, the guy's going to blow up soon. I'm happy to get you before you get famous. And when you
Sounds
do,
like he's blown up already.
Please remember us here at Tornado Tag Podcast. We love you to death, and thank you once again for doing this. Brian, do you have anything to plug?
ProjectHumanoid.com. That's where you can find all my podcast stuff. I'll keep it short and sweet.
You can check out his podcast, Murder My Dude and Pedantic. They're very, very fun, and they do a great job. Alex, what do you got?
Oh boy, Teespring, Pro Wrestling Tees, TeePublic, Can't Believe Frog, IWTV, Frog Sport, other
High Tension Wrestling.
Yeah, that too.
Just got announced today. Me personally got announced the High Tension Wrestling joining the family. So
that's right, man.
Realistically, we do the IWEP network, and he's part of High Tension, but they're one family. Me and Alex are very close, so one feeds the other, and we're both in this to not just put over ourselves, but put over everyone we work with. And if one of us grow, we all grow. We're trying to be like the Adam Sandlers here of the podcast world.
Big goals, man. Big goals.
But Matt, thank you once again, man. And we'd love to have you back on once Frog Sport airs and talk shop and see what happened there.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me today.
We'll see you guys next time for Tornado Tag Podcast. Matt, hang out with us. We'll say a proper goodbye to you here. And here's some Billy Trey. We're out.